So we're here live on May 2nd, and again with a gaggle of Democrats around me at what is the Washoe County Democratic Convention. And we're here with
Senate Majority Leader and candidate for Attorney General, Nicole Cannizzaro.
no kidding now,
Yes.
huh? Wow, that's a title indeed. Well, Nicole, what are you doing here, and why do you find yourself as an Attorney General candidate in Nevada? Because we're next NV, and we really want to know what's next for Nevada. Is it
Yeah.
going to be you?
Oh, I think it's going to be me. So I am very proud to serve as the current sitting Senate Majority Leader. I am the first woman to ever hold that role in state history, and was first elected in 2016. So I've been in the state legislature for the last 10 years. I've loved the advocacy there, fighting for so many really important things, everything from education to affordable and accessible healthcare to reproductive rights and voting rights. We know that those are incredibly important, and being able to fight for that at the legislature has been wonderful. And in my private life, I am an attorney by trade. I currently practice civil litigation, but have been a prosecutor for 11 years with the Clark County District Attorney's Office as a chief deputy in the gang unit, where I took on racketeering and fraud cases, and some of the more complex and crazy cases that you get in a prosecutor's office. And the Attorney General's office is the best place to really blend those two forms of advocacy into an office that represents the state of Nevada, right?
So, why do you think that background would help you lead Nevada's military as our general?
So the Attorney General's office is actually the head law enforcement officer and the attorney for the state. So
Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
we don't lead the National Guard that we have here in Nevada, but we do provide a lot of legal advice to agencies. We enforce the law. We make sure that consumers are protected and take on corporations who might be engaging in unlawful conduct. We will defend Nevadans' rights. So when our rights are attacked, the office is there to defend their rights. And of course, we're there to protect the community and make sure that, for example, kids are safe online, and that human trafficking is, a big issue that we tackle in the Attorney General's office. And so we do everything that a law office for the state would do.
So you said the word law a lot of times.
Yes.
Do you think for some reason your background as a litigator who does law things and someone who passed laws in the legislature gives you an adequate background to actually talk about law at a state level?
100%. I think that background is incredibly important, because your next attorney general is the attorney for the state of Nevada. And if you were going to hire an attorney for your family, your business, yourself, you would ask that attorney, what sort of legal experience do you have? How many cases have you taken into court? How many times have you won those cases? And if their answer was, well, I've never actually practiced law, you wouldn't hire that attorney.
Probably not. I'll give you that. But we do have a fine attorney general today, Attorney General Ford.
Yes.
And it seems like his theme is to file millions of lawsuits against the federal government. Why is that? Is that because he just doesn't like Trump, or do states really need some sort of independent legal voice?
Yeah. States absolutely need an independent legal voice. And I will say that whether it is the federal administration, whether it is a corporation who is taking advantage of consumers and, unnecessarily charging, let's say, higher prices, we have an obligation at the Attorney General's office to take those cases to court. And so if somebody infringes on our rights, it doesn't matter who it is, right? We have to defend that. You are enforcing the laws in the state of Nevada. You are protecting Nevadans. And no matter where that protection may need to, come from, that is what we're doing at the AG's office. And so, yes, there have been suits to challenge illegal tariffs and to make sure that federal dollars that were promised for, clean energy and for education and after school programs makes it into the state where it has been stripped by the federal government. But those are the kind of fights that we have to fight on behalf of Nevadans. And that starts, in a courtroom, putting together a case.
But I think the Donald Trump administration is more of a nanny boo boo, take backs are okay kind of administration. So is the rule of law actually that important today and now?
I think that the rule of law is absolutely what keeps this country founded, right? We
Okay.
have to believe in a rule of law, because otherwise it's complete chaos. And your attorney general's office is the first line of defense in all of that. And so where we look at things like, let's say there's federal funding that's being stripped from the state of Nevada for important programs that we are putting into our communities, the AG's office has sued and said, no, we are entitled to those funds. You promised them to us. So you can't just ninny boo boo and take them away, right? And they have been winning in court.
Well, I mean, court versus nanny boo boo, but I think the courtroom rules ultimately, right?
Yes, the courtroom
Okay.
absolutely rules. And that's where we are holding everyone accountable. It's where we're holding big corporations accountable. It is where we are holding government accountable. And that starts in the courtroom with an attorney general who has the right courtroom experience to know what it means to be, in a law office as the chief legal officer and the chief lawyer and the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Nevada.
Well, we've talked about the now, the attorney
Yes.
generals, the laws. What do
Yes.
you want to see happen next? Maybe in that office or just in Nevada as a whole?
Yeah. So, really, I think there's a couple of things that I am focused on as the next attorney general here in Nevada. We have to keep our community safe. I have been working on legislation and want to continue the work to make sure that our kids are safe online, right? We know that there are predators out there that are taking advantage of young kids who are engaging in a various number of online platforms. We have to keep them safe. We also have to make sure that we are helping consumers, right? Things are very unaffordable in a lot of ways. Gas is expensive, rent is expensive, buying a house is expensive, groceries are expensive.
Yes.
We have to make sure that we are holding corporations accountable. And so when we're talking about things like, for example, housing, making sure that corporate landlords are not coming in and buying up all the housing and then jacking up the prices so that people can't actually buy houses or afford to rent them. And then finally, I think, again, it is protecting our rights. We're watching as voting rights are being challenged and they're trying to be restricted. And we here in Nevada, believe that our voice matters. We believe in exercising our right to vote. And so we have to make sure that we protect that. And I think those are really some of the really important pieces of the AG's office moving into the future.
Well, I think the hardships on the ground, the costs to the people, and the dangers they face on the online, like you said, it's not just a van with puppies in it anymore. The internet's full of predators, right? So we do need those interactions, those engagement points. And you feel like you'd bring more of that to Nevada next, or do you think there's really enough of that going on today? Because I already feel like Nevada's a pretty great place. I mean, do you
Nevada
really
is
need
the
to do
best
more?
place.
Come on.
Nevada is the best place, but there are always evolving challenges as technology evolves, as we continue to find new ways to engage with each other in, over the internet and with online platforms. And so we just really need to make sure that as kids are doing that we're keeping them safe. And so I do think that while we here in Nevada do a great job, and this is the best state in the nation, I think, we have to make sure that we're continuing that fight.
Excellent. Well, thank you for taking on that fight and trying to bring what's next to Nevada. And thank you for being on Next MV Pod.
Thank you.
Nicole Cannizzaro. Appreciate it.
That's it.
Say goodbye to Jack the Jack.